Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever 2001 show. This is our first ever podcast tonight together. We have three of our five members. Tonight we have myself, I'm Austin. We have Mac and Seth. With that being said, and tomorrow being Thanksgiving, we wanted to give a shout out to our families and say happy Thanksgiving. And we wanted to give another shout out to the South Carolina band for being in New York City for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Shout out to Shane Beamer and Dawn Staley um, for giving their donations to get our band there. With that being said, though, fellas, college football playoff predictions, outlook. How how do we like the playoff pool? We have Oregon at number one, Texas number two, Miami number three, Boise at number four. Ohio State 5, Penn State 6, Notre Dame 7, Georgia 8, Tennessee 9, SMU 10, Indiana 11, and Arizona State 12. First and foremost, I have a problem. I have a big problem. Why do we have an SEC matchup in the first round of the playoff prediction? I have a problem. No, bro. What? No. No, I'm not feeling it. No, I don't. I have a problem because I feel like this playoff was set up for us not to have these matchups that we're going to see in the regular season. And here we are, we might see them. Um, I think that that should be a thing. Um, but that's neither here nor there. Well, what do y'all got to say about these 12 teams and about their current rankings? Okay. See, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Beginning, like the whole reason for the expanded playoffs is to have matchups we've never seen before, like never get a chance to see. So the fact that we have two SEC teams playing in the first round who play each other almost every year. I mean, and you're already only giving the SEC three teams, and then you're going to knock one of them out because they play each other in the first round. So I don't know if I like that as much, especially 8 and 9. I feel like Georgia and Tennessee, what we've seen out of them is worthy enough to put them above Notre Dame at least. I would even argue Penn State.
I I don't disagree. It's that there's just so many three loss teams. It's causing the issue for the SEC. But I mean, I think that'll get ironed out with this week and the week after next. I think that'll get ironed out. I don't think this is going to be close to the final draw. I really don't. I don't think
Not
we're
at
going to
all.
see a SEC versus SEC matchup after it's all said
Uh,
and done. But
Okay,
No, I
so
100% agree with you.
so we're saying 6 versus 11, Penn State, Indiana, fraud versus fraud. Okay, both of them
who's
played.
Ohio State's favorite son? That's the game.
I like it. I like it. Okay, because they both played Ohio State. Okay, Indiana come out, look competitive to start off with, and just crapped the bed in the second
Yeah,
half.
they looked good for about 15 minutes, and then Ohio State figured out what they were running.
They looked okay in the first half and then just didn't. Like
I would
looked
argue
like they
first quarter, but
yeah, give or take. And then they came out in the
I
second half and just looked like they forgot how to play football.
I think it was a situation where Ohio State just needed time to settle in and figure out what they were going to run, and once they figured it out, it was just waterboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got Indiana was completely overpowered by Ohio State on all facets of the ball. Once Ohio State got it started, Indiana's like they got behind and they were like, "Oh crap, what do we do? This is the first real football team we played this year." So
They just never
um,
made adjustments at all. That's what it looked
exactly,
like to me.
they haven't had to make adjustments. They've been blowing everybody out. So when you're not used to making adjustments, you're used to just sticking to the game plan. When the game plan gets screwed, then you've got nothing. You got nothing to do.
Right. Right. See that's how I felt. It looked like to me that Indiana came out firing all cylinders, walked down the field, scored. Ohio State, it took them a minute. They made some adjustments, and Indiana just didn't do anything. And like you
Yep.
said, Indiana finally faced a team that, quite frankly, I mean, obviously Ohio State's got the most highest paid team out there, but they just outclassed them in all facets. Like you said, Mac. I mean, they outclassed Indiana completely. I
Yep.
I Penn
But at the
State,
same time,
Indiana.
here I got you something for you. But at the same time, that was the purpose of the 12-team playoff, though. So teams like Indiana, given they have a terrible schedule as far as I'm concerned, and I think there's
Agreed.
other teams that deserve it over them currently. But one of the biggest things for the 12-team playoff is for teams that normally look mediocre in the midseason, or you'd think would get outclassed, still have a chance. You know what I mean? In the postseason. So I mean, that was the reason the 12-team playoff was built. It was built for teams like Indiana that normally would never get a shot if it was a
True.
four-team playoff.
I mean, what
So
Indiana's best wins over Nebraska at 56-7.
now
I would say
that's
Illinois
where,
too.
and that's where I go to say I still think there's teams better than
Illinois,
Indiana,
they haven't
but
played Illinois this season.
Yeah,
They
wrong
played
game.
FIU, uh,
Illinois.
Western Illinois, UCLA, Charlotte,
Western Illinois.
Maryland, yeah, Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, and Michigan.
I mean, you could argue. I mean, you couldn't even argue Michigan though. I mean, they beat Michigan by
No,
5 points at home. A Michigan
yeah,
team that's what 6-5 this year.
right. I mean, the Indiana schedule is Michigan's 5-5 this season, and after they play Ohio State, we'll get to that later on. But
Man, we won't see Michigan at 5-5 for another 10 years.
yeah, I mean,
Michigan's
in
cooking on the
Indiana schedule is light, very light.
yeah.
So, well, all right. So, what do we think about Notre Dame SMU?
Notre Dame, SMU. SMU, I see as probably the most valid team in the ACC. Notre Dame still has to prove it to me. I don't think they've proved a thing all season. Um, just because you play a ranked Army and a ranked Navy, you're playing high school teams. That's why they run the wing T. But we'll see. I'm not a big fan of the matchup, but I would hope SMU crushes Notre Dame. It's not terrible though. I mean, we'll get to see if Notre Dame's a fraud or not, and that's always fun.
True, true. Um, I so watching a few of SMU's games over the past few weeks, they to me look like the most complete team in the ACC.
Oh,
They
absolutely. I don't
play
think
very complementary football. Very
I
good
agree.
complementary football.
It's
They're
dangerous.
exactly, they're dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Nate Dogg, we see you in the chat, brother. Notre Dame is frauds, brother. I agree. I agree. Notre Dame has had a soft schedule. They lost to NIU at home. Um, I SMU just plays sound football, man. They left the AAC after winning it, walked into the ACC, and have turned up. I mean, they are on the verge, barring any kind of crazy collapse. They're on the verge of walking out of one conference, walking into another, and being in a championship game. You
Hey,
you can't
respect to 'em.
ask, right? You can't ask for a better first season in a brand new conference.
Yeah.
Not a single
I like
chance.
their I really like their coach. Did you see that presser
Agreed.
he did the other day where
Agreed.
he was just like, yeah, he's tough. I like that. Same thing. Speaking of quality coaches, Arizona State, right now they're at 12, 16 in the CFP. Dude, their coach, he's the, I think, youngest college football coach in all of college football right now, at least with the major conferences. He's electric. He was
Yeah.
ready to fight someone on the field last week
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
Game
stormed the
wasn't even
field
over.
twice.
Game
Yeah.
wasn't even
No,
over
Buddy
yet.
is
no,
nice.
he was ready to fight everybody. He was
Yeah.
so sick.
I like SMU's coach. I like Arizona State's coach. I think um, let's round off this Notre Dame SMU game. I think that Notre Dame would have. I think they would have a dogfight in SMU. Um,
Without a doubt. Without
I
a doubt.
think that listen, I've watched Notre Dame's defense. Their defense is nice. Don't get me wrong, and their offense is nice too. But when you got a team in SMU that play complementary football, I know it sounds redundant, but
Oh,
when
you
it's
straight.
complementary football, when you have guys that have one goal and they have one common goal on offense, they have one common goal on defense, and one common goal on special teams. And they all three come together with one common goal as a team. I think they
Right.
could beat that Notre Dame team. They lost
And
to
they
NIU at home, brother. Like, come
Now,
on.
the
when
thing
SMU
is,
comes out,
go ahead, Nick.
my bad. When SMU comes
No, it's
out, I
fine.
mean they steamroll every time. Like I mean they're dropping
Yeah.
40, 50 points a game like it's nothing. And I mean, like I said, me personally, I still can't justify Notre Dame in. You could win into every other game your whole season. But when you lose
Yeah.
to NIU at home,
Yeah.
I didn't know NIU had a football team that was that was worth watching until this year. And they made Notre Dame look like a high school team. So
I
they put a
agree.
Yeah.
defensive clinic on in that game. So I can't imagine what SMU could do in
Here.
their and with their defense and their defensive schemes against Notre Dame. So I would have SMU winning that game by 2, 3 scores.
I mean,
Wow. Now
listen,
I got a
listen.
curveball for you.
SMU. Before you throw it, SMU averages 40 points a game, seventh in the nation.
Wow.
40.4 points a game.
Okay, so I got the curveball for you because we've been dogging on Notre Dame, given I think they've earned it. But I think Notre Dame could give SMU an issue at being physical. The thing
Yeah,
is, Notre Dame has been stacking classes and stacking talent a lot longer than SMU. And I think that's where SMU could falter. SMU, I've noted, at least when I was watching them a little bit, SMU, they're small, they're fast, and they can get after you. They're
yeah,
clean, they play clean football, but they're a lot smaller. So
yep.
I wonder, I think Notre Dame has a potential to ruin SMU in the trenches. I think that's where Notre Dame wins that game. If
I see,
if they
see,
win the
see.
trenches.
I think. All right. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. I think
That's what I was doing.
I'm gonna counter your counter. Okay. I
Hit me before we
think.
move on.
Yeah, yeah. I think that because they would be super physical in the trenches, because SMU's fast, they would hit them with those quick out wide receiver screens and stuff that they've been killing people on this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
would bust Notre Dame for 30, 40, 50 yards a pop and
I
maybe get
wouldn't
a
be
couple big
surprised.
plays, and that's
I could
where
see
they
it
would
either
beat.
way.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
really do.
because then Notre Dame would have to make adjustments, and then boom, all of a sudden you don't have these, stunts into like a double mug look, or where they're
Mm,
shelling coverages and they're shelling zone but playing man, and SMU doesn't know how to look at it. I mean, Notre Dame does that a lot. That's how they beat. That's how they beat A&M at the beginning of the season. They were ruining A&M on defense to begin the season. And so that would just be something that would play out. Obviously, this playoff bracket we have two more to go. But looking at it right this second, the next game on the list would be Ohio State, Arizona State. What do we think?
We don't. That's
Ohio
not even a
State beats them by
conversation.
21, dog.
I was just wanting to throw it out there. Yeah, I think
We go
Ohio
ahead and move.
State.
We can go ahead and move on to the next one.
I think
Yeah.
that one might open up like a South Carolina Wofford game, like a minus 48.5 to Ohio State.
I don't know if it'd be that bad, but
It
it's
wouldn't
good.
be
It's
that
good.
bad, but I'm just saying,
They're going to be 21-point favorites. I'm calling
yeah,
it now.
they would probably steamroll Arizona State there. I mean, they would just
I would even
outclass them.
say.
Hey,
I
but
mean,
imagine
I
if
would
the
say
upset
starters are
happens.
out of the game
Oof.
soon
Yeah, it'd probably be a starters out of the game probably
by
by the second
halftime.
quarter, by halftime type deal.
Yeah,
All right, next game on the list: Georgia, Tennessee.
Uh,
Mm,
I,
this one's
I,
interesting.
same, same.
I don't,
I think
Because
the quarterback play determines this game. If Carson Beck
without
can,
a doubt.
in games that Carson Beck protects the ball, Georgia wins the football game every time. Their
Yep.
defense is
Yep.
still the Georgia defense we know and hate.
right,
Their offense, they still got the weapons. They've got the big boys on offensive line and defensive line. You're not going to overpower Georgia ever. I don't care who you are. Was the only other team we've ever seen with this big of size on the line and in the trenches.
Agreed.
So I feel like Georgia would win this one as long as Carson can protect the ball, which I hope he
which
would
is
in this
what
one. I
what
think
they
I'd have to.
did. That's what Carson did in the middle of the season when Georgia beat Tennessee the first time. Carson was
Exactly.
25 of 40, 347, two tutties, no interceptions.
Hey, but don't
Um,
play with that Tennessee defense though.
I
That
agree.
Tennessee defense can get. But I agree, it really does come down to the QB situation. I think Georgia's biggest issues throughout the season is their lack of a number one guy, a downfield threat that is their guy. I think that's been some of their issues, and also just Carson Beck's inconsistency. But I see Carson Beck getting better throughout the postseason. I don't think he digresses. I think he locks it in, maybe starts partying in Athens, and I think he locks it in the postseason. He knows when to play, and he ain't
Yeah,
gonna play there. He's done it. He's been there before. I think because it's postseason play, pick Georgia in this.
yeah. I
Agree.
mean, Georgia
I agree.
won. Georgia won the turnover battle. Uh, Tennessee had one turnover. Um, Now Tennessee did outrush Georgia in this game, but Georgia
Hey, that kid's a
also,
monster.
yeah, Dylan Sampson also
Dylan
being left
Sampson's,
off. Yeah, I mean that cat's going to be playing on Sundays for sure.
Oh yeah.
100%.
But I mean, as far as my goodness,
If you
Georgia.
flip them around though, here I got some. If you flip it around and they play in Neyland, and I've been to Neyland,
Oh,
I don't think y'all have. They play in
uh,
Neyland, Tennessee wins it.
Now that according to this bracket,
Right
according
now they're
to this
playing in
bracket,
Athens at 8.
they're playing
yeah,
in the
they
hedges
they
right
would they
now.
would play in the hedges right this minute. Now, if something were to happen and that game get flopped and it plays in Neyland,
I think I'm picking
Then you got a
Tennessee and
ball
Neyland.
game. Then
yeah,
you got a
I
ball game.
see. I think so too. I think it'd be closer than 31-17
Absolutely.
because I mean,
Yeah,
listen, looking at the stats, legit looking at the stats, Georgia threw for 347 that game. Tennessee only threw for 167. I mean, you're
Nico's gonna be a
talking,
problem though when he gets more settled in.
yeah, I mean, you're talking almost a 200-yard difference. Almost
when
a
Yeah.
Nico gets
200-yard
locked in on
difference.
that, when Nico finally locks in on that long ball passing, because I mean I see it every game. They were playing UTEP last week, and he was, I mean, just launching balls like every other throw. And once he gets dialed in on that, kind of like we saw with Tua when he was at Bama, when that gets locked in, he's going to be a real threat.
Yeah. Listen,
I
listen. We
don't
we
disagree.
said it last week. Mac, we said it last week, brother. DJ Lagway, Nico, and Lenore Sellers.
Lenore Sellers,
They are
they're going
about
to
to be running the SEC fellas?
I wouldn't
without
even
a
say
doubt.
running the SEC. I'm gonna say they're gonna be running college football for the next 2-3 years.
Duh, 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 duh. I like it. I like it. All right. So
Let's move on.
we've been through the first 4 games. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not gonna tackle those next games, because
Yeah.
listen, this playoff ranking and playoff outlook is just gonna completely change over the next couple weeks.
Oh,
It will
we're gonna get
change.
into it. We'll get
It's
into it.
definitely gonna change. We have some outlooks coming here. Listen, so teams to watch. Obviously, we all watched the ranking show on Tuesday night. We were rather ticked, bamboozled,
So,
flabbergasted. We
I
were
beg to
Down.
differ. We ended
we
where I
were
thought we'd end.
see I okay so there were
I called
I had
15.
two takes. I said we were either going to end 15th or there was going to be the slight chance because Alabama and Ole Miss both pissed down their legs that we would somehow jump them due to the fact that they overlooked us losing to LSU early in the year due in
Yep.
earlier rankings. But because it's so close and the fact that uh, brand bias with Alabama, I feel like they're wanting to try to give them a backdoor to be able to stay in, and give them a
Without
way
a doubt.
back into the playoff. I listen. Outside of the top 15, Arizona State being close and them being at 16th and still being in because of being a conference champion, the way they have them ranked, that
Those
is
auto bids,
absolutely
man.
wild to me. But
The auto bid
you
messes it
know,
up.
whatever. Um, I
Yeah.
listen. Colorado crapped the bed this past week against Kansas. Kansas has been on a hot streak. Uh,
They're gonna be
BYU
a
crapped the
problem for whoever
bed
they play
the
next
week
week.
before. Yeah, BYU crapped the bed the week before against Kansas. Tulane moved up. Iowa State moved up. But yeah, I mean, here we are. Gamecock fans looking
Terrific.
at ranked 15th in the nation. Ole Miss in front of us after we got beat at home versus Ole Miss. Wasn't a pretty showing. Ole Miss loses to Florida
Mm.
in Florida, and Bama loses this past weekend, and Clemson plays the Citadel and jumps up a handful of spots, and South Carolina doesn't move but one. So for teams to watch, I mean, we all have our takes,
Mm.
but obviously, I think 12 through 16 are the teams to watch this upcoming weekend. Um, I don't necessarily think. Um,
I would go ahead and round up 17 in there with Tulane. If
yeah,
Arizona
true,
State
true, true,
slips
true,
one
true.
more time, I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
see
yeah,
Tulane sneaking in as the 12 seed.
yeah.
I'll tell you my team to watch. All right, so I got 3 teams, or I got Notre Dame. You got to watch Notre Dame this weekend. If you're not watching
True.
Notre Dame this weekend and you're a South Carolina fan,
Yeah,
that's going to
gotta
be
keep
our
a
ticket in.
watch. Gotta keep a
Like
watch on that
I
USC
agree.
Notre Dame
I
game.
agree.
Southern Cal right now, I see as probably our ticket into postseason play. Right now, Southern Cal is plus 7.5 with FanDuel. So only a 7.5 point underdog. Like th- Vegas sees this as a relative close game, or at least a 1.5 score game. That's going to be our ticket. And then I got the ACC in general. There is a freaky, disgusting path the ACC gets 3 teams in, and
Yeah,
I hate it.
very,
I hate it.
Terrible.
very, very,
Terrible.
very. I mean, listen, there's a chance. Obviously, it would look good for the Gamecocks here if we go and beat Clemson this weekend, and something were to happen
Mhm.
with Miami. They're a two-loss team. They lose to Syracuse this weekend, and SMU wins. They're 10-2.
Yep.
Miami's 10-2. Clemson is 9-3, but Clemson's in the ACC championship because Miami lost. Clemson makes it into the playoff, and then does the CFP put 3 ACC teams in? I mean, these are all
There's
things.
a
I mean,
path,
there's a
and
gigantic path for the ACC to, you know,
especially if Notre Dame loses, it just opens the door even wider for that to happen. But Notre Dame would give. Who does Notre Dame give a spot to if they lose? And then I say teams to watch: the Iron Bowl. That's outside of just the fact it's one of the best rivalries in college football. The Iron Bowl, Alabama dropping to Auburn, which is very possible, especially after last week and the things we've saw throughout the season. I think we have the ability to jump Ole Miss by beating Clemson, especially if we
I agree.
handle Clemson. I think we can pass Ole Miss. Who I don't think we can pass. I don't think we can pass both of them. I don't think we can pass Alabama. So unless they add 5 SEC teams in the playoff, which I don't think anyone thinks is going to happen,
Not at this point. I don't think so.
no, I think that is our ticket. Alabama losing, Notre Dame losing, and the ACC not stealing a third bid.
I honestly believe. I think we have. I don't think. I think Ole Miss deserves it more than Bama does. I mean, you look at Bama's losses.
I don't disagree.
I mean, they lost one to Vandy, lost one to Texas. What was their other loss? I don't even remember now. But Vandy, and then they just lost to Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma was what, a 1-2 win team in the SEC this year, and
They
then
didn't
Bama
just
comes
lose.
in.
Ooh.
I mean, 24-3. It was. I think they said in the game that was the least amount of points Bama scored in over 15 years. So when you hold an offense as high powered as they've been, I mean, with Jalen Milroe, who's a highly touted quarterback prospect, and you suffocate that offense with Ryan Williams and all these pieces that you see in the media that they keep pushing because
Mm.
it's the A on their helmet that they wear. It's the reason why they get so much media attention, and they're above us and Ole Miss. I mean, I understand us;
Mm-hmm.
they beat us by 2. Ole Miss, I mean, Miss has been
Dude,
relatively.
oh man, it's so gross. Ole Miss is
I mean, they've
disgusting.
they've
The
been
thing about Ole
competitive in
Miss
all their
though,
games.
their first 3 games were against Middle Tennessee, Wake, and who's that? Georgia Southern. So three of their like dog,
Out here
3 of their
padding
games are
stats, brother.
already like given.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, we have three cupcakes as well with Wofford,
everybody does.
Akron. But that's how they started off their season. So they started off their season with the rankings already glazing them. In preseason, it was
Exactly.
already happening. And then they immediately dropped to Kentucky as soon as they face adversity. This isn't a team that can face adversity. So you're dropping Kentucky by 3, and then you're dropping LSU, which we've learned LSU is a little shaky. And then you're going to get waxed by Florida. I don't care if you're in the swamp. You got whipped by Florida. Like,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They
I
got beaten in
see.
I mean,
trenches.
Yep. Yep.
other hand, I mean, you look at Bama's first 3 games: Western Kentucky, South Florida, and Wisconsin.
Hey, it's.
So, I mean, they both
I
have
see
an
them as the
argument, and then
same, is what I'm getting at.
that's not even mentioning Mercer. They played Mercer this weekend or weekend before last.
But I mean,
So, I
listen
mean,
though. Do we
Yeah.
just go with a lighter schedule? I'm just saying.
Oh
No,
God,
I'm,
man,
I'm
I
I mean,
kidding.
hate
I would
I'm
that.
love.
joking. I'm
I
joking. I'm joking.
I hate
I'm
that this
kidding.
is what college
I
football's
mean,
going to. It's
agreed.
so gross.
Agreed. I mean, you think about it and you look at how they have ranked these teams, and
Mhm.
you look at their schedules, and you look at their strength of schedule, and you look at uh, their win loss and who they've lost to, how they've lost, and everything else. I mean, at some point, some of these teams are not gonna continue to play hard schedules. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say
Oh, I
the
don't
quiet
disagree
part
at
out
all.
loud. Somebody is gonna eventually not play a very hard schedule on purpose and see if they can still make it in. Somebody's gonna do it at some point. It may
Missouri
not be
Same.
did this
next
year.
year. Pause. Listen, Missouri and Ole Miss were ranked 15th and 16th in SEC strength of
Oh.
schedule, and Ole Miss lost 2 of the games they shouldn't have lost: Kentucky
Yep,
and Florida.
it's great.
So, I mean, since we're talking about games that we should be watching and things of that sort, let let's go into some games we should be paying attention to. All
Mhm.
right.
Right. All
First
right.
one on deck, Georgia Tech, Georgia. It's at
All
7:30
right.
between the hedges.
Friday
Nope.
night. Friday night.
Friday night between the hedges. It opens up 19.5 point favorites to Georgia Tech. The Yellow
I
Jackets.
like
What you
that.
got? What you
Let me tell you why I
got?
don't like that. Okay.
Talk to me. Talk
Georgia
to me.
Georgia has 2 losses this year, correct?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's Georgia Tech boys. Come on, man.
Oh no, hold on. Okay.
Okay, y'all, you gotta. Okay, I'll hear you.
Georgia's
I'll
two
hear you out.
losses. Georgia's 2 losses came against Bama
Yep.
and
Okay,
Ole Miss.
Yep.
In both
okay,
of those games, Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart, while having great passing games, also led their team in rush yards.
okay. Yeah, makes
Both those
sense.
games. That's the
Those are
only games Alabama's allowed quarterbacks to rush more than the running backs. Quarterback. Haynes King, what is his whole thing? He is a dual threat quarterback. I mean, last week he didn't even throw a pass. They brought him in, and when he was in, it was basically a wildcat every game because he's got that shoulder injury. So my key for this game would definitely be if Haynes King's shoulder is healthy, it's going to be a close game, a lot closer than what people think. If he keeps his legs under him, running around, he's going to be hard to stop.
Mm.
Haynes King has led Georgia Tech's offense in rush yards in 2 games. And if he's successful in the run game, I've got Georgia Tech in an upset.
no
We
way.
starting off.
Okay, so you're
Yep.
picking Georgia? I mean Georgia Tech off
Whoa.
rip? Oh heck
I've got
no.
Georgia Tech
Whoa.
impact player of the game, Haynes King.
Yeah,
Only
give
impact player
me
of the game,
Whoa.
and I'll even give you the score.
Austin.
Final
Give
score.
okay, okay.
It's gonna be 27-24. Georgia Tech walk off field goal.
You're a freak.
Okay,
You're a
all
freak.
right. Pause.
Start.
We have a chat. We have a live chat that says Georgia Tech
What's
in a
up?
stunner. Georgia Tech
Love it.
14-13.
Love it.
JR, we see you, we hear you. Thank you for tuning in to the live, my brother. Appreciate you.
Respect
We love
JR.
you. Listen,
JR knows ball.
JR does know ball. JR knows a lot of ball. I appreciate him a lot for tuning in. Listen, I have a couple key points. All right.
All right, hit it.
Georgia's
Yeah.
defense is not the defense of old. Okay.
Okay.
Hear me and hear me well. They have gave up a combined 158 points to Alabama, Mississippi State, Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and UMass. Massachusetts scored. UMass scored 21. They scored 21.
You know what?
And Georgia Tech's averaging 4.8 yards a carry. That's pre-Hayes King, by the way.
Yeah.
Pre-Hayes King. And
Haynes King is like that.
11.8 yards per catch this season when they decide to throw the ball.
All right.
What I'm saying, if Haynes King is able to throw the ball, which he didn't have to do it all last game,
Right.
when they won. I mean, is that the game? Did they play Miami? Is that the game they beat Miami? He didn't even throw the ball.
No, they put the other cat in to throw the ball for him.
Exactly. So I mean, if he's able to throw the ball, Georgia Tech.
Okay,
It's a scrappy
so this
team.
is my
I've got
thing.
a lot of upsets this week. It's rivalry week.
Man,
I'm here for it.
I ain't buying y'all bull drive. I ain't buying it. Give me
D.
Georgia 35, Georgia Tech 12.
Oh,
Come on,
All right.
man.
buddy's shutting
I
it
ain't buying,
down.
I ain't buying the Georgia Tech thing. Come on. All right, next up.
Wow.
What's next? I'm not buying it.
Wow.
We'll see there.
Okay.
You can call
All
me
right.
out
So
next week.
I definitely don't think he's saying that Georgia. So you think Georgia covers
I think Georgia covers
and some.
smiles as
All
you're walking
right.
out the stadium.
Georgia's
All
gonna be
right.
only thing they're gonna be covering is their tail when they're
So are
walking
y'all
out
both
walking out of the hedges with
calling
the L.
upset?
I,
What do you? Oh, okay,
I
Austin, give your pick. Give your pick.
I I screw it. We're going Georgia Tech in the upset.
There we go.
Oh,
We're
we
going
got
Georgia
two?
Tech in the upset. I'm going. Listen.
Oh,
Listen. I'm going. Carson Beck has another bad game. I'm calling.
What?
I'm calling
Okay,
at least
interceptions.
2 turnovers. I'm
Need
calling
3
at least
interceptions.
2 turnovers.
Oh,
Listen,
crazy.
Carson
interceptions.
Beck has had too many bad games this year. He's not
Okay.
reliable.
I don't disagree with that. The Georgia
He's
Tech
not
is
reliable.
Georgia Tech.
Listen,
I don't disagree though.
and it's rivalry week. There's bad
And that's
blood. The
valid.
yellow jackets smell blood. They coming in between the hedges whether the dogs is ready or not.
Hey, that's valid.
That's all I'm
If I
saying.
would if I would bet it, I would probably bet I wouldn't be afraid to bet Georgia Tech the points, like they cover, you know what I mean? But
Right.
money line? Nah, I'm straight.
And
All
it's
right.
been 8 years. It's been 8 years since Tech beat Georgia, so
They do.
it's time. It's
They
time.
do.
Okay. All right, next up, what we got?
Hey,
What do we got?
JR in chat says Cage is about K Klubnik is about as reliable. That is funny. JR, we hear you, brother. Listen, Michigan at Ohio State, 12 o'clock kickoff, noon kickoff. Ohio State
Mm,
opens up minus 21.
Like that. I like that for this one.
Yeah.
We've
mm,
seen Michigan this year, weak offensive showing in almost every game. They've been held to less than 30 points in all but 2 games. I mean, they just can't score the ball. Their quarterbacks can't
no, they
throw the
can't
ball.
move.
Relying
They're
on a
struggling
rushing
there.
offense, you're playing against Ohio State, whose
Right.
Ohio State's defense has not allowed more than 17 points in all of their games except for
Jesus.
one, which is when they played number 1 Oregon. That's the only
Yep.
game they allowed more than 17 points.
Yep.
Uh, I, I'm calling a blowout here. I mean, like one of the worst this rivalry has
Really?
ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. Oregon and Michigan played, and the final score was 38-17. I think Ohio State comes out and makes a statement game to say, listen, we are obviously we want to be ranked number one in the nation. We want that spot. Obviously, they
Right.
lost to Oregon, but like they're gonna come out and make a statement. I'm calling a gigantic blowout. I'm thinking like a 48-52, something another to 3 or 7 maybe. I would
Ooh.
be listen. I would be
Close to what I said.
surprised. I will be surprised if Michigan gets in the end zone.
So y'all don't think Michigan can hold them though? Like that defense ain't
No,
gonna do
dude.
nothing?
No,
Listen. You got you got
I don't know if I
too
disagree,
many
but
talented
that was
wide receivers out there. Listen, Michigan's stout up
they
front,
got
brother.
freaks.
They're stout. They are. They always have been. They always have been. But Ohio State is going to outclass the crap out of Michigan this coming Saturday at 12 o'clock.
I
They are
wouldn't be
going to,
surprised.
I think I think the player to watch is going to be Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver for Ohio State. I'm excited for the Jeremiah Smith Will Johnson matchup. See what we got going there. I've got Jeremiah Smith 2 touchdowns, 100 plus yards.
I'm not sure that Will Johnson's playing this weekend.
Is he not?
I don't, I, listen,
Really?
listen,
I didn't know.
Portnoy, Barstool Sports. Shout out
Maybe.
Dave Portnoy. I am almost 100% positive. Quote me if I'm wrong. Knock me down. I think on his podcast the other day that he said Will Johnson's not playing this weekend.
Huh.
I may be wrong.
Makes me feel better about my score prediction because I've got
Same.
Ohio State winning. I've got Ohio State winning this one 41-13.
JR and Chat's got
41-13.
59-14. So y'all
Dang.
y'all on the
I
same
got
wavelength.
I'm a little different. I got Ohio State obviously winning, but Michigan covering. I think their
Hmm.
defense keeps them in a little bit, given it's a 20 and a half, point difference, to cover, but I don't think Ohio State beats them by 21. Not by 21. I think they can keep it a little closer than that. It is a rivalry game. That's kind of my thought process there.
Sure. So we all say
But
Ohio State wins.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good.
Big win.
Big win. All right. Cal at SMU, 3:30 Eastern. 13 and a half points to
There
SMU.
ain't much, dog. There ain't much to talk about here. SMU by 50.
No, no,
Come
no, no, no.
on, man. No
Not
way you
so
gonna.
fast,
Not
my
so
friend.
fast.
Oh,
Not so
Mac,
fast.
no way. You better start clowning, boy.
Oh, I love it.
All
I've
right.
got this game to be an absolute shootout. It's gonna be a boat race.
Ooh. You
SMU's
think Cal
only
can score like
loss.
that?
I believe so. I believe they come out
Okay.
last game of the season. SMU's only loss was when their pass game was limited to less than 200 yards.
Okay.
And Cal has an average pass defense. I think I've got it as 81st in the nation in pass defense. So I mean that's better than over half the teams in the country. Um, if Cal can
Mm.
limit their turnovers, the turnover battle is going to be huge for Cal. Their quarterback tendency to throw interceptions. If he can limit those interceptions, I've got Cal winning if he limits interceptions, but I don't know if he will. So my impact player is of course Fernando Mendoza, which is Cal's quarterback. Interceptions, Cal will win it close, but I see him throwing one or two and SMU winning 34-31.
Okay.
Okay. I
Interesting.
we talked about
I don't hate
SMU
that.
earlier. We talked about SMU earlier. I I I like SMU's passing game. The thing is SMU and Cal are both respectively 1 and 2 in the ACC in rush defense. I think it's going to come down to the
Really, Cal's
passing
like
game.
that?
Yes,
That's what I said.
I ain't gonna lie. I
it
haven't
Shootout,
it
considered
is going to
shootout.
Cal like
have to
that.
be a shootout in the passing game.
That's what I'm
Whoever
saying.
wins the turnover battle wins this game.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And
Is
I
one of you
think
one of you gonna pick Cal?
he
You look itching. Y'all look
If
like it
if they
itching.
don't throw the
if
if
they
he doesn't
don't,
if he throws a pick, I've got SMU. I'm picking SMU,
yeah,
but it
Okay.
all comes down to
So you're riding SMU.
yeah.
what
I
does
mean
Mendoza do?
that's where I was at. It's if Mendoza limits the picks, Cal can make this a ball game.
Okay.
Agree.
If he throws one or more picks, I mean SMU has done really well at creating points off of turnovers this season,
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
and you can't. I mean, you can't just give a team free points.
I just
So
don't see Cal's
Especially not
defense staying
SMU.
with SMU. I just
not
don't
at
see
all.
Cal's defense sticking with it.
Sure.
But I
So
agree with y'all's points though. That's valid.
okay.
So y'all have Cal covering without a doubt then.
Yeah, more
Yes.
than likely.
But SMU wins a close one.
Okay. I say SMU covers the 13.5. I think they
Right.
can beat them by 2 scores. All right, next we got what Tennessee Vandy.
Yeah,
What they
Tennessee
starts?
Vandy, 3:30
Yeah,
Eastern. Ooh,
this one
same,
ugly.
same. Listen, minus
This
10
one
and a half to
ugly.
Tennessee. What are we thinking, fellas? What are we thinking?
Ah,
Liking this one. I'm liking this one.
I know this one's ugly.
Listen, all right. So, as a South Carolina fan, we need some Commodore and Diego Pavia magic.
We
I
need a master class.
I have never.
We need a little bit more magic one last time.
Yep,
Like, listen, the
yep.
Vols rank 4th nationally, only allowing 13.1 points per game, and is the only SEC team to hold 10 of 11 of their opponents below 20 points this season.
Who's this?
Dude,
Uh,
To
Tennessee.
I'm gonna
Tennessee.
keep it
Yeah.
a buck. If it wasn't for the fact that tickets are $600, I'd probably go to this game this week. I'd find a random bar in Nashville. I'd go watch the Carolina game and then walk my happy tail to the stadium. But Vandy trying to get their bag while they can. I respect it. Um, this is ugly. I think Tennessee wins though. I'm picking Tennessee because I think Diego. I've watched him throughout the last few weeks. I think he's slowing down. I think because the Vandy team runs off of Diego, and I
Yeah.
think teams have found how to beat Diego. And I mean, South Carolina proved that. I mean, we we gave everyone a 3-hour tutorial on how to beat Vandy, and I don't think they have any other ways to beat teams.
A
Diego is their
28 a
only way.
28-7 boat race in the rain, my boy.
I
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't know. I think like you said, Vandy started off hot this season. Diego slowed down. I think he's got one more in him, but what I want to focus on is both of Tennessee's losses this season have come when Nico has been held to under 200 passing yards. He's got less than 200. Tennessee has lost the ball game. I also believe
Okay.
Pavia, like you said, will be the defining factor in this game. I think that if Pavia rushes for more than 75 yards and a touchdown, Andy wins. If they contain
Wow,
him, if
Ooh.
they contain his rushing,
that'll be
it's
fun to
over.
watch,
It's
man. It's
over
gonna
for
be so
Vandy
fun.
if he can't get out of the pocket and move around. it's over for Vandy. But I've never said this before, never thought I'd say this. Vandy might have a home field advantage. They've played all their
No,
games
dude. I just was
close.
there 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. That stadium is not there yet. I mean, they fill it up with what was it? Speaker noise. They just
Yeah.
blow it up. They're third down. It's just like I can't say that word.
Listen, the only thing that
It's
has me
bad.
worried
Not good.
is that Tennessee is sixth in rush defense, and we all know what Vandy does. They
The thing
hold
is,
teams to
I think
less than
they
100
have
yards a game.
I think not Vandy. Tennessee's defensive line is top three, maybe top five in the SEC. Though they're going to be able to stop Pavia just like South Carolina did.
Yeah, and
I,
I
I
mean,
don't know. I think if he gets out of the pocket, if he can run, if he
He's
can get out of the
shifty.
pocket and then
if he can
move,
get on the
then he's
outside,
good.
if he can
Yeah,
get to
if
the
he gets on the
outside,
outside,
That might
yeah,
be
I
true.
think if he rushes for more than 75 yards, Vandy's winning it close. Diego Pavia is
All
my
right,
impact player of the game.
yep.
of course.
Vandy 27, Tennessee 21.
Listen, I, I've only called a handful of upsets. I want the Commodores to win, and by God, I'm calling an upset here in Nashville.
Let's
I
go.
like
I love to
that.
hear
24,
it.
24-21 Vandy.
Are y'all
All right, so
both
we're close.
going
We're
Vandy?
close in the score prediction. We're a
I'm
field goal
calling
apart.
I'm calling
Oh
Vandy
my God.
upset on a
All
on a
right.
game winning field goal.
Am I riding alone again?
Bro, you might have to twin in them. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
psychos. You're
I'm just
crazy. I
saying.
like it.
Listen,
I like
listen.
the.
We need some Carolina magic to happen.
Hey, you're the
Yeah, I've
Black
been
Magic
saying
Man.
all season. I've been
1984.
saying all season. Embrace the chaos. That's South Carolina's. That's our. I've adopted that as our motto.
I like that.
I'm feeling some chaos this weekend once again. Rivalry week, anything can happen. So yeah, give me Vandy.
It's been a
God,
chaotic year.
Georgia and Tennessee losing. What a year that would be.
All
Y'all
right,
are crazy
JR
doing
is
that.
shutting us down in the chat. Brother is saying Tennessee by 30. We hear you, brother. We hear you.
Yeah,
All right,
they are
next
riding
game
together.
on deck: Miami versus Syracuse, 3:30 Eastern in the Big Orange. It opens up at
This
minus
one might
11
be.
to Miami.
This one might be
It's
my favorite game of the week, other than of course the Palmetto Bowl. This
Agreed.
one's this one's gonna be
that's
good.
a large statement. Okay, boys, it's my turn.
Da,
Give me
da, da,
Syracuse
da.
on a field goal. Give me Syracuse on a
Oh
field goal.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not.
yes,
Give me
finally.
Sy- Give me
Love to hear
Syracuse on
it.
a field goal. But yeah, Miami's been choking or on the verge of choking at least half of the games this season. Did anyone forget the Virginia Tech game? Like,
Nope,
and all
not
the
at
other
all.
ones, dude, every game, unless Miami catches them early, if Miami can get up on them early, it's gonna be a long day for Syracuse. I ain't gonna
Let
lie.
me tell you
Listen,
something.
listen.
I've
Had
got
had Wake Forest not choked with
That's
with
what
the
I'm saying.
fumble and the interception, bro, Miami has, bro, they have escaped this year.
So many
Escaped.
games they've escaped. I don't
You
think
got
they
it, Matt.
escaped
Go
this
ahead,
weekend.
twin. Go ahead.
let me
Go ahead.
tell you two things. One, putting pressure on Cam Ward is going to be one of Syracuse's biggest things in this game. When
Yes,
he's
sir.
pressured, we saw it in the Georgia Tech game. He's going to throw an interception. He's going to fumble the ball. He's going to get flustered. That's the only part of his game
Hmm.
is when that blitz comes at him, he doesn't know what to do. The second thing, it took me a lot of digging, but I found a very interesting stat. My most important part of this game is time of possession.
Yep.
Miami drops a lot of points on teams. There's only been one game all season that Miami has not won the time of possession battle. That was in their only loss versus Georgia Tech. Every other game, they won the time of possession battle. Georgia Tech, they lost it by almost 6 minutes. So
Wow.
I'm thinking for me, impact player of the game, I'm going to say Clarence Lewis. Okay, hear me out. Corner for Syracuse. If Lewis can lock up Restrepo, it's over.
The fact
Oh,
Syracuse is 8-3 kind of blows my mind. But that just
listen,
Been
tells
under the
me
radar all year.
they have been.
listen.
They have.
Syracuse has scored 31 plus points in 8 games this season.
That just tells
Eight.
me
Wait, they've won?
Syracuse can keep up
They
with
no,
Miami.
they are 7-1 in those 8 games.
Whoa.
I like this game to be close at home for Syracuse
I've got it
with
by a point.
upset potential. I like it to
Heavy.
be within 3.
Heavy.
I've got it
I think a field goal.
24
That's what I got.
23 Syracuse. I've got 24-23 Syracuse.
So are
Whoa.
we riding Syracuse?
Yeah, we're all on the Syracuse
Yeah,
train, brother.
we're on the orange train. Only time we'll ever
So
be on an orange train.
y'all,
We're all on the Syracuse
Love it.
train. Let's get it.
so
We're
y'all,
all on the
y'all calling
Syracuse
a lot
train.
of. Y'all calling Georgia, Tennessee, and Syracuse. Wow,
Hey,
y'all.
listen, we got to call all of
I'm-
them and just hope something happens.
I
Brother,
respect it.
I might have some more coming too.
Oh, I
Whoa,
think I got
whoa,
me. I got me some. I got me some.
whoa. Listen,
What we got is the next game.
next on deck, we got Notre Dame versus Southern Cal, 3:30.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
Notre Dame. Listen, Notre Dame opens up as only a 7.5 point favorite in this game.
That blows my
Seven and a
mind.
half. Listen, same. Listen, Notre Dame's inside the top 10. What are we doing here?
Does
Now,
Vegas know something
I
that we
I
don't?
I was gonna ask. I mean, do Vegas know a little something that we don't? Because 7.5 point favorites going to Southern Cal. I mean, I guess, but not really. I mean, do y'all? What do y'all think? I mean, it obviously is Gamecocks here. We need Notre Dame to lose.
We need them to
You
I
know what?
lose
think
bad.
I think they're trash. Other than their defenses look good and Riley Leonard's look good. Other than that, I think they're overrated. I think if they played a solid team that they would lose. I think if they played I think if they played Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Oregon, Ohio State, shoot, maybe even Penn State. I mean, shoot, let's throw Indiana in there. At this point, Notre Dame ain't played nobody worth a crap other
No,
than
they haven't
Texas
proved
A&M
themselves.
at the first of the season.
And
That's
it's
it.
easy to catch someone in that first week. It's easy to catch anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Week
I
1 is
mean,
tough. That's probably the toughest week to play.
so I mean, at this point, I listen. Losing to
You know
NIU at
why it's
home.
close?
Talk to me.
You know why it's close?
Talk to me.
USC's biggest loss this year. Every single one of their losses has been a one-score game. Keep
Whoa.
it close, no matter who they play. I mean, that's 5 losses,
Mm.
all one-score games. Their biggest loss was 17-24 in Minnesota. I see it as a close game.
They
Um,
only lost by 3 to Penn.
Well, listen. You want to know
Notre
why?
and that was
You
an
want to know
overtime. That
why?
was an overtime game.
You want to know why it's been close? Miller Moss has thrown for 2,555 yards and 18 tutties.
Now I'll say
Um,
with Southern Cal, they haven't been blowing teams out either. Like
no, I
No,
mean, and they
no,
listen.
pretty
Their
close
running
in
back,
all of their games.
their running back
that's who I
Woody
want to talk
Marks.
about.
Their
That's
running
who I
back
want to talk about.
Woody Marks has ran for
Yeah.
1,100 yards and 9
Phew.
touchdowns.
Beat me
So
to
they
it.
got
Woody
someone
Marks.
valid at the
I,
running back position.
I'm thinking the trenches are deciding this game, and I think Woody Marks is going to determine the winner of this game. Woody Marks is my impact player. I mean, their
Mm,
biggest win
I
against
agree.
Nebraska, Woody Marks had 180, 100. Oh, excuse me, the whole team had 182 rushing yards. Woody Marks accounted for 146 on 19 carries.
Jesus.
So
Yeah,
I,
I
I, I've got
mean,
I've got Woody Marks as the impact player. He's gonna be a big factor in determining the winner of this game.
All
if
right.
if you if Southern Cal can limit the damage Riley Leonard can do in the passing game, I think that I think that Woody Marks, as long as he can bump off of a couple tacklers and make some moves on that outside edge the way he has been. I like this game to stay close. Um, Now Miller Moss has thrown 9 interceptions this season. Riley
Mm,
to Riley Leonard's 4.
yeah. Got to protect the
Um,
ball. That'll be a key.
and Jeremiah Love has 14 touchdowns to Woody Mark's 9. Um, Obviously Notre Dame's team looks superior on paper, but I listen,
Right.
SoCal in SoCal at home, they're going to load the stadium. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy.
I'll give you that with it being
Let
rivalry week. I'll
I
give you that. Yeah.
I like
So what else?
USC
What
to
else?
I like USC to keep it close, but I want Southern Cal to win this game for the Gamecocks' favor.
For the boys.
I want to see the Gamecocks in the college football playoff after having a rough year and having a huge turnaround with everybody just said they weren't going to be anything this year. People were saying less than 5.5 wins. They weren't going to win much, and they've proved everybody wrong. And I want them to continue that. Uh, I I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be too strong. I've called a lot of
Okay.
upsets. I just think Notre Dame's defense is going to be too strong.
Trust me, if the other upsets happen, you won't need Notre Dame.
I agree, but listen,
Exactly.
if Woody Marks can break through that defense, I got USC. Otherwise, I think I got Notre Dame in a close one. I think it's like a I don't know, like a 27-21, 27-24 type game. Um,
So you
yeah.
picking Notre Dame? Is that what you're thinking?
Unless Woody Marks can make a huge difference. Like he would have to make
I
a huge difference.
I agree. I also have Notre Dame. I would be in a little bit higher scoring. I have Notre Dame 41 to USC's 35. But I think if Woody Marks, he's my impact player, if he can run for over 200 yards, give me USC. If not, it's Notre Dame.
You know what, boys? Eat it. Give me it. Give me Southern Cal. If Southern Cal does it, I'm calling them USC for the next 6 months. And this is how I
Wow.
don't think, and I think y'all have it off because it's college football. It ain't going to go what you say. I think they start the game passing, and that'll open up the run. Notre
Mm.
Dame just played a Navy and Army school that all they do is run. They've proven they can stop the run. But I think they start passing it, let the kid fly the ball a little bit. He can do it. He did it against Penn State. And I think it opens up the run for later in the game to take control. But I think it's still close. I think it's a 24-17 Southern Cal victory. Give me Southern Cal. Let's go, baby. Let's ride.
What did you just say?
I think it's a 24-17 Southern Cal victory.
Woo! Hey,
I would
chat.
love to see that. Would love to
Hey,
see it.
chat. Listen, chat. JR in the chat got SoCal 24-13.
Okay.
Whoa, y'all on the same wavelength. I hear you, Jay. I hear you. I hear you. Listen, next game on the slate, Auburn at Bama, the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl. Alabama opens as 11.5 point favorite. Listen,
Oh, I hate this
listen.
game. This game makes me
I
want to vomit.
agreed. Peyton Thorne's finally come around in this Tiger offense. Okay. But what sticks out to me is Jarquez Hunter, the running back for the Tigers. But he's got 1,150 yards on the ground this season with 8 touchdowns. And Alabama's leading rusher is their quarterback. They don't have a solidified running back one. They don't. It's their quarterback. And Alabama's coming off of a game where they only had 7 rushing yards versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma has given Auburn the defensive blueprint on how to stop Alabama.
Yes, I agree.
Auburn took what several teams, including South Carolina, done to stop Jalen Milroe and had perfected it. And they did.
Right.
7 rushing yards is insane over a 60-minute game.
Yeah.
If Auburn can reproduce what just happened this past Saturday, I got Auburn 21-20.
I wouldn't be surprised. This is for me. This is a pick 'em. This is a pick 'em. It's worse because my old lady, she an Alabama fan, and I straight up told her I'm gonna have to pull for
Ooh.
Auburn this weekend because y'all are ahead of us in the polls.
Ooh.
She was a little
Buddy
mad.
about
I
to
had to deal
be
with
in the
that. I was on the phone.
doghouse.
Facts, facts. But I'm gonna be real though, only because it's at Alabama, and I had my first personal encounter with Alabama this past season. Bro, you talking about a tough place to play. brother.
Tuscaloosa
I,
is tough, brother.
so that's the only reason I will be picking Alabama. Auburn covers. I think it's close, but I do think there's a lot of points scored. I think you're going to get into the 30s in this game. Whatever the over is, take the over. But because I don't trust either defense, but I think Alabama in the fourth quarter pulls it away. I
Mm.
don't see
Uh,
Auburn being able to upset twice in a row. I just can't
no,
see
I
it.
agree. I think even though Auburn's fighting for a bowl game, Hugh Freeze, he's going to give Alabama everything they've got. Um, I think this is a Bama bounce back game. They're mad after they just lost to Oklahoma. Had they been ranked a little bit lower, you could even say fuel to the fire. I don't see them blowing out Auburn, but I also don't see it being close. Impact player, of course, the obvious choice would be Jalen Milroe, but I'm gonna go Peyton Thorne. If he decides to
I
show up,
agree. If
maybe a
he
little bit of
shows up,
magic.
Auburn's gonna be cooking. If he Peyton Thorne, because I think I saw a stat, I forgot what it was the other day, but I believe Peyton Thorne's been out doing Milrose stat wise. Problem is
Yes, he
Peyton Thorne
has.
always messes up late in the fourth quarter and it chokes them away. That's what happened in
Yep.
the Kentucky game with Auburn. And they've
Yep.
done it several times this season. Auburn is a very sneaky team, and that's why they got the upset last week. But the issue is Peyton Thorne has a tendency to choke at the end. Given if he fixed the issue last week, and now his confidence is through the roof, Alabama might have a long day. But I don't
Yeah.
trust. I don't trust
Yeah,
Auburn in Tuscaloosa.
had this game been in
If it was
Jordan
at
Hare,
Auburn, I think I would. Yeah,
it would be a different game. Like I mean, we heard Nick Saban say it last week. Like there's some dark magic voodoo going on there. But
some voodoo in
I've
there,
got
man. That's
I've
true.
got Bama 27-10 in this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Or
Okay.
I don't hate that
All
pick.
right.
So we're riding. So yeah,
I'm
you
the
riding
only one
along with
riding with
Auburn,
Auburn by one. I'm
brother.
the only one riding with Auburn by one.
You
Listen,
going crazy with the upsets.
listen. I
I like
listen.
this.
I
I
I
like
I'm
it.
the one hosting the show, brother. I got to be the one going crazy. Listen,
It's usually my
listen,
Hey, I
thing.
don't hate
It's
it.
usually my
listen.
I
thing.
It
I'm
don't
the
is
hate it.
usually
upset
your
guy.
thing, Mac. Listen, you are usually the one that goes with upsets, but
I predicted
It is
upsets
seeing
rivalry
last
week.
week.
So I don't hate it.
seeing how chaotic college football has been over the last, let's just give or take 5 weeks, I would not put it past college football to be chaotic again next week or this
Well,
Yeah,
I
weekend.
agree. I think it will
Not
be. I think it will be.
not a bit. So why not
yeah.
call for a couple upsets? And if 4 out of the 6 or 7 happen, hey, I'm a happy camper.
That's all we
Listen,
need. We only need
net
one.
agreed.
Hey, I think
Next
we need a
game on
little
the
more than
list.
one. I think two
Yeah,
or
yeah,
three of
yeah.
these
True,
things,
true.
two or three of these upsets happen.
Listen, we
It's
got
gonna
we got 2 more games on the list, and then we can get into
Hey,
talking about the biggest game of them all coming up on Saturday noon. Before we
hey,
get there, we got Purdue at Indiana, 7 Eastern time. Indiana opens
mm,
up as a 28.5 point favorite over the Boilermakers. Listen, Indiana's
hey,
coming off a
I wrote
hot loss against Ohio State. They, yeah.
wrote one thing down for this game in my
Hmm.
notes, and it was we need a miracle. That's that's it.
hey, but
That's the
hey,
only way this is happening.
real talk though, Purdue isn't that the team in their league that's like known for the big upsets, no
They
matter
Listen,
haven't
how
done it this
dog
year.
water they
They
are.
have
l-
not done it this year.
they haven't done it this year,
Purdue.
but they're
Purdue.
not at home. It's
Oh
usually
my
it
gosh.
usually happens at home. That game
Oh,
always happens at home. Listen,
It's so gross.
listen.
I
I
don't.
I
I'm
I
picking
have in my
Indiana, but
notes.
I
It,
just
do we see Indiana bounce back, or do we see Indiana start reeling after a loss?
if it's
How do
because of
we see Indiana respond?
Kirk Signetti, I think they're gonna be fine.
they're gonna bounce
I
back. I've
I
got
think their their head coach is the player of the game. All right, I think Indiana will be fine.
Listen,
yeah,
I'm
I
going
agree.
Indiana.
I'm just saying I wanted to see what y'all thought. I
yeah.
agree. I think their coach has a mentality that's going to keep them in it. I also think that they have a lot more talent and they're just going to fully outclass Purdue. I just think
Yeah,
that they
but I will
probably
say, hey, this is one of those games you just keep checking on your phone. You know what I mean? While you're
Like,
watching the other
yo,
stuff.
why that score so close? Pause. Let me go check
Yeah,
again. Wait a minute.
yeah. It could be one of those games,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, for
you know,
sure.
Um,
So
I
so
I
we all
think
got
Purdue's only shot is if Drew Brees walks out in a uniform.
surprised you
That's
didn't
it.
say Peyton Manning, my boy, but I hear you. All right.
No, he's a boy. Hey, Brees was
hey,
a Boilermaker.
That's true. That's true.
Howie
Listen,
I've
Ryan
got I've
deep with Indiana.
I've got
yeah.
Indiana
I think.
45-13 blowout.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got I got them covering that 28.5 by plenty.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
agree. We're
Listen,
riding
last
that.
game on the slate.
Hey, I got two more after this. I found two games that we should have brought up.
Do
They
you?
are slack. Uh-huh. And these are the spicy picks I was talking about.
Oh.
We'll,
Do
we'll,
you want to bring those up before we talk Texas A&M?
we'll talk Texas A&M last because I think that's probably the biggest game of the week, at least if you're an SEC fan, which we are. Washington State, Oregon. How did we not add this in the list, Mac? What are we doing? I'm picking
Mac, wait
Washington
a
to upset
second.
Oregon.
My bad,
Wh-
brother.
I'm
My
pick,
bad, brother.
I'm
Whoa, whoa,
picking it.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Give
whoa,
me
whoa.
Washington to upset Oregon. I know we don't got all the stats pulled up for this one. I had to surprise y'all. Washington's going to upset Oregon in Eugene by a walk-off field goal. Oregon chokes every single year.
Oregon,
Every year.
listen, Oregon opens as 19-point favorites. Will Rogers has thrown 2,500 yards on the year, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Dylan Gabriel is at 3,000 yards, 22 tutties, 6 interceptions. They both have 1,000-yard rushers. Oregon's running back Jordan James has 11 touchdowns, while Washington's running back Jonah Coleman has 9 touchdowns. Um, yeah, I mean, listen, Washington lost to Penn State 35-6. They lost Indiana 31-17 and lost to Iowa 40-16.
Hey man, everyone likes to look too deep into a stat sheet. I'm just saying, I feel it in my bones. Give me
Mm.
Washington. Oregon has the
Mm.
Oregon has choked every year somewhere along the line. Oregon beat what was it, Ohio State? They
Hmm.
didn't choke. Where everyone was like, "Oh crap, maybe they finally got over the hurdle." I think they choke in their last game of the season. It's rivalry week, baby. Come on. That's my hot take. Well, that's not
No,
my hot take. I know we have in a whole nother segment, but on hot
I
takes,
need
but give
I
it to
need
me.
Oregon to get revenge on Washington for my guy Bo Nix. Shout out Offensive Rookie of the Year incoming. But yeah, I've got Oregon in this one by 17.
All right, what's yeah, I think
I,
yeah, I think
I was I was expecting to ride it alone. Don't worry, boys. I was expecting it. But
yeah.
hey, let that
What was
thing
the
hit.
other game?
Y'all gonna hear about it. Next one was just Oregon State, Boise
Boise
State.
State. Yeah, I
I
I
think
seen that one.
I think Oregon State gets it. Boise State,
Hmm.
outside of Genty, has not impressed me at all. And Genty's injured. He might be trying to hide it. That last game, he was hurt. And that's all they got.
Fighting for a bowl game too. Oregon State's
Now,
fighting for that
given,
bowl game.
They are.
Boise State has squeaked out their last two or three losses or two or three wins against a bad Wyoming team, a mediocre San Jose State team, and a bad Nevada team. So I missed that one. That's a game to watch. I don't hate that.
given Oregon State is absolutely awful. They got 28 to 0 by Air Force. Like, they lost to UNLV and Nevada. Like, this Oregon State team is dog water, but it's rivalry week. And I don't trust Boise State
And
without
anything can
Genty.
happen in rivalry week.
These, I assume y'all both taking Boise?
Yeah, I'll take Boise on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I'm taking Boise.
All
Yeah,
right, last one on the slate, boys. Texas and Tamu
oh,
at
this is I
College
feel like we're gonna fight
Station.
over this one. This
Texas
one I feel we'll
opens
fight
as
about.
5.5-point favorites. Listen, my biggest key in this game while looking up a lot of things, Texas's run defense versus A&M's run offense. is the biggest thing in this game. Granted, Texas loves big plays. They love big plays. But
Right.
but the Aggies are 17th in the country with 280 yards a game on the ground. And Texas is 13th in the nation, holding teams to just 104 yards a game on the ground. What something's got to give. Something's got to give in this game. Somebody has to break through. Something's got to give.
I
This one's
think this is
done.
going to come down to quarterback play. Quinn protect the ball. When Quinn doesn't protect the ball, Texas loses football
Is Quinn
games.
playing? Did Quinn get
I was about to
validated
say,
as playing? 'Cause
is Quinn playing?
there were some rumors that Archie was playing. Because I mean, that
Yeah,
might change my pick. If Quinn's playing.
yeah. I mean,
That one's so tough, man. That one's a tough game to call.
it's a tough game to call, but I mean,
Well, right now, as of
Even
today, he's
with
probable.
yeah, I was about to
even
say
with
he's probable. Released 50 minutes ago.
even with Archie, I still think Texas could do it though. I don't think Quinn's necessarily the key. I think they have two QBs. I think if anyone's the key, it's Marcel Reed in that running game for
That's
See,
Texas A&M.
exactly what I said.
that's what I think.
Marcel is my impact player. The question I'm asking is, what version of Marcel Reed do we get?
Yeah.
We get Marcel Reed that came off the bench and won him the game. Or do we get Marcel Reed that walked into Williams-Brice, looked shaky early, got
And
shell
got
shocked, and then
cooked.
just couldn't do anything. I mean, zero. Correct me if I'm wrong. 0 second half points from A&M that game.
Yeah.
Made no adjustments. So, what version of Marcel Reed are we getting in this game? I have him as an impact player, but I also have him
I don't
not
know,
showing
man.
up. I don't think he's going to show up.
Also, it's a
Mm.
question of what version of Texas do we get in this game? Do we get the
Right.
27-24 versus Vandy, Texas? Or the 20-10 against Arkansas, Texas? Or do we get a
Mm.
you see what I'm saying? Or the 49-17
Mm.
against Florida? So it's like I'll tell God, this game sucks, man. This one I actually had to like sit, think about, contemplate. I didn't like this game. I wasn't a fan.
What you got is what's your score prediction for this one? What's the numbers?
As a
I think it's high
Carolina
scoring.
fan, what we need to happen,
Yeah, I was about to say I have no I feel like
you
either
need
way
Texas to
this
win this ball
goes.
game.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have the head-to-head over A&M. You need
And
Texas
that's
to
one
win.
of the and that's one of the reasons I figured we would need Texas A&M to win so they still
Nope.
look good and that's a
Exactly.
valid
No,
victory.
not at all. You've already beat them in head-to-head. They've already dropped behind us in rankings. That does not matter. If
What
Texas
about
A&M wins this game, they are in the SEC championship with the chance of
Oh, that would put
winning.
another team. That would put another team ahead
Yeah,
of us. Because if they win, then
exactly. Yeah,
okay,
it
okay,
would
I see
give
what you're
them
saying.
a chance to get in with a first round bye. You don't want
God, I hate
that.
my pick.
It's terrible.
You do not
I
want
hate
that
my
to
pick.
happen. I picked Texas to win this game and cover the 5.5. I think they
Let me
beat them
ask.
by
And the
what?
cover. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me
by
ask.
five and a half. Yeah.
Is there a
Yeah.
world where we see A&M beat Texas or what? A
Lose to
three-loss
Georgia.
team. They win the SEC championship, and the SEC champion is the 12 seed in the playoffs.
Yes,
Oh my
because
god.
they rank conference champions based off of their win loss.
Highest rate, yeah, their rankings, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see the SEC champion being the 12th seed in the playoffs.
And
That's
not get
so
a first round bye.
Ridiculous.
Correct.
what a
But
world.
But
then you would get A&M. I don't know if Texas makes it in after they lose to A&M and not make it to the SEC championship because they have no good wins to stand on at all. None.
The only that would have them dropping like 13, 14. Do you think they drop them that far though?
They would have to.
The issue with Texas is they have them at like what was it, 3? Like that's a
Yeah, predicting them to win the SEC though.
10, 15. That's true. That one's
Yeah,
ugly, especially when you get into the projection side. Because if Texas A&M goes to the championship and wins, that looks amazing for Carolina. That means we beat a conference champion. But at
Right.
the same time, if they don't drop out Texas, it kills us basically.
Yeah.
So they would
unless we
it
also
would they
beat,
would have to.
unless we
Yeah.
would also beat Clemson, and then they somehow win the
They,
ACC champion. Then we got 2 wins
Right.
over 2 of the 4
and we don't
champions.
That
But
would be
and
the
we
only way it works. But even then, I
yeah,
and we
don't know
don't
with the Bama bias and stuff. I don't know if they'd still put us in.
and we don't make it in, and I go jump out a 2-story window. It's gonna be crazy. I picked. Okay, so Austin, you picked Texas. What do you got, Mac?
I got Texas. I got Texas winning this game 35-28.
Mm, okay.
it's gonna win them this ball game. On average, they allow 12.1 points per game. You take out the Georgia game, they allow 10.3 points per game. Their defense is going to show up. Marcel Reed's going to look bad. We're not getting the best version of Marcel Reed. I've got Texas 31, Texas A&M 14.
Sadly, I'm riding Texas A&M alone. I'm not gonna change my pick at the last second, even though that changes everything what you explained, Austin. I got Texas A&M winning.
Boo.
I think it's gonna be close, but I think it's gonna be another high scoring game. That's
That's crazy.
brutal.
That's crazy.
I think you're gonna get
Boo.
into I think you're gonna get into the high 20s, low 30s on this game, like a 30-27, 30-24. But I think Texas A&M edges Texas out only
Okay.
because Texas A&M or Tech hasn't played anybody,
Mm,
and y'all they're playing at Texas A&M. They're playing at Kyle Field, and I
yeah.
think that plays a big factor in this. That's the
Sure.
only reason I really got Texas A&M. But if Texas is legit, they're gonna win. We'll see if they're legit though.
Okay.
I hate that. I hate that I picked Texas A&M.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you, out of
All right.
all of this that we've talked so far, have any crazy hot takes at all? Anything?
I,
All right.
I got one. I'll let you go first. So
All right. So my hot take is based around the Palmetto Bowl, which we're about to get into right
Okay. All right.
after
All right.
this.
All right. We'll save that hot take to the end of the Palmetto Bowl discussion.
Okay,
Mac, you
I'll
go.
save my hot take. Then.
hot take is Boise State does not win the Mountain West.
Whoa. Whoa.
But they chose.
Whoa. They
Am I rooting
choke?
for them? Am I rooting for them? Of course, yes. I'm rooting for Boise State. I love what Ashton Genty's doing. He should win the Heisman. And it's not a popularity contest; it's numbers. Ashton Genty should win the Heisman. I think
What
that this
is this? What?
UNLV team we've seen could upset Boise
Okay.
State in the Mountain West Conference Championship next weekend. We look at the
Okay.
matchups. Syracuse or UNLV's only 2 losses are to Syracuse, which we said is 8-3. They lost by 3 points in overtime. They
Hmm.
beat
Only three
they
in
beat
overtime.
Kansas. They beat Kansas, which we've seen is a good team now that they've found their identity. They beat Kansas
Hmm.
in Kansas. They beat Kansas in Kansas. Um, they dropped to 72 points on Utah Tech. Yeah, I know that's nobody, but I mean 72 points is 72
That is
points.
kind of insane.
Yeah.
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 Their only other loss was Boise State, lost by 5 points.
I that might even not even be a hot take. I think that might be just
No,
like a
that's not. That might not be
I,
crazy.
I think that might be like a 5, like a 5 out of 10. It
We've
might be
seen Boise
lukewarm.
State is
I like it though.
Bo-
That's a good call.
Boise
That's
State is losing momentum. They haven't played their best version of football the past couple of weeks. Got UNLV winning the Mountain West and being the 4 seed in the playoffs.
Whoa. Whoa.
Ooh,
All righty then. Okay.
I like the call though.
I
I
wrote
like
that
it.
down. I am gonna save that for the
Please
next
do.
time we run the show. I'm saving that.
Yeah.
So
Save
the
that.
moment we've all waited for. We are getting in to the best
Woo.
rivalry in all of college football. We
Hey, to
we
the
are
editor, make
talking
sure you put this here so we can post this
we
for the
are
boys.
we are talking about the Gamecocks versus the Tigers. We're talking about
Oh
Carolina
my
versus
God.
Clemson.
Mhm.
We're talking about the Palmetto State. All the things
Bragging
of the
rights,
past.
everything.
We're talking about bragging rights. We're talking about momentum in recruiting. We're talking about the future. Yes, we understand what happened in the past and all that hoopla. Whoop-de-doo. JR, I see you in the chat talking about go Tigers. Nah, G, it's go Gamecocks today, baby. Listen,
This game
JR
is this
I
Tiger.
game
still
is
love you.
different.
Oh,
Listen,
oh.
this game this weekend is different than anything that we have
Yes.
seen in the last since 2013. 1000%.
Mhm.
Listen,
Let me just
I
add,
mhm,
we don't
Hit it
we
back. Hit it.
this rivalry does not get the respect it deserves.
agreed.
Rivalry weekend, it's always Ohio State, Michigan. It's every year. It's this game is one of the greatest games that's played every year. This game is an in-state rivalry. This game's divide families. This game's big, and this is might
It
be the
is.
biggest stage we've ever seen it.
It's it at least in my lifetime, or at least since I've been able to understand football. 'Cause I was a kid during the Spurrier era, and I really didn't grasp it. So for me, this is the biggest one, without a doubt. It's our Super
For
Bowl.
sure.
Tennessee loves
Same with
to
me.
call them. Tennessee likes to call themselves our Super Bowl, but nah, dude. This is South Carolina's Super Bowl. We don't have any pro sports teams here at home, so it's the biggest game of the year without a doubt.
Listen,
Yeah.
I agree with us not getting the 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 the, the respect we deserve. We got ESPN's JV crew calling our game on Saturday. We got the bottom of the barrel JV crew on Saturday. No
This is the
disrespect.
best game Saturday. This is the best game Saturday.
This game has everything you want in a rivalry game. You have a top 15 college football playoff ranking matchup going on in the great state of South Carolina in the fake Death Valley up in Clemson
Hmm.
where we get to see the number 15 South Carolina Gamecocks go up against the number 12 Clemson Tigers for bragging rights for a spot in the first ever 12 team college football playoff. There is nothing more. Nothing more that South Carolina fans or Clemson fans at this point won't. This is what this rivalry has needed. This is what this rivalry has deserved. Granted, the team that Shane Beamer took over, oh God forgive
Thanks,
us,
Boomer Champ.
and oh Lord, thank you for getting us through all the Muschamp years. Lord have mercy, Jesus.
Every
You
ounce of disrespect.
you listen with every ounce of disrespect, Will Muschamp. I listen, brother.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Peace out, Girl
Have
Scout.
fun.
I listen. He has done in 4 years what no other coach has done. If we beat Clemson on Saturday, he surpasses the head ball coach. He surpasses
Oh, ball coach, man.
Steve
Come on.
Spurrier. He solidifies himself in
Isn't that insane, by the way?
yeah. He solidifies himself in a legacy of his own at South Carolina.
Hmm.
And
That's 4
we
years.
will be 9-3 in my opinion. This is just my opinion. We should be in heavy conversations when it comes to the CFP
I
if we
think we
beat
already
Clemson
have.
on Saturday.
Yeah,
But
I
that's just
absolutely agree.
listen, we are trending up rapidly. This upcoming recruiting class looks absurd.
We're
We
gonna get
have some
into it.
talent across the board. We listen, ladies and gentlemen, watching live on Twitch. We're going to post this on YouTube. We are gonna deep dive into the recruiting class during the off season and some things. Listen, we got some highly touted 4 stars coming in at receiver on the defensive side. Shout out Quay Dot. He follows me on X. My brother is going to be nice on that defensive side of the ball. Listen, we are trending upwards fast for one of the first times in what feels like forever at South Carolina. And right now is the time we've got to jump that last hoop. This is it. We said it, Mac. We said it at the Tamu game. We said it during the Missouri game.
JR
But
killing me in the chat, man.
yeah, no. Shout out JR in the chat, brother. We love
He
you, brother.
said, I don't know if you're a real Clemson fan. He like my grandma. He was like, I hope y'all win every game except the Clemson game. Nah, bro, I hope y'all lose every game. It's hate different, dog. It's hate week. You get me saying that.
Listen,
Nah, I love you,
I am fully expecting, fully expecting whatever we lose on defense to be replaced on the defense in the portal. 1000%.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that.
And we're gonna get into all of that. And I am excited about where this is going.
It makes me too.
But it is just making this whole weekend coming up this Saturday, just the hype around it's just gotten insane. When we get into what this game looks like, I have got three things that I think are gonna win the Gamecocks this ball game. Okay. Clemson looked pathetic against the Citadel. They gave up 287 rushing yards against the Citadel this past Saturday. Granted, no, they were injured, but whatever. I don't care if they get all their starters back on defense. I think that Rocket and Lenoris are gonna drop their nuts and they are gonna run and shove the ball down Clemson's throat this Saturday. Granted, I don't know if we get Josh Simon back this weekend. I hope so as well, because that adds another layer to the passing game. But I think we have to take advantage of the weakness in their edge rushers not setting the edge and bouncing the ball outside and using our perimeter edge blocking that has gotten better over the season and our offensive line that's gotten better over the season. I think we have got to use that to our advantage this Saturday. The second thing that I have on my list is that our defense has got to pressure Cade Klubnik. Our defense hasn't looked like its normal self over the last couple games, but I think sacks and pressures will lead to turnovers. Pittsburgh had 5 sacks against Clemson. I think our D-line, I think our D-line's a little bit better than Pittsburgh.
One more time, I'm going to say it, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. And lastly, I think sacks and pressures will lead to turnovers. That's all I really have on defense. I just think our defense is superior to theirs. That's just my opinion. And I think a special team score, if that happens, that'll win us this ball game. So, what do y'all have for keys to victory for this South Carolina Clemson rivalry game this weekend?
Hit it, Mac.
Defense.
Okay.
Am I worried about Clemson's offense? Not at all. I'm not going to say we have it in the bag, but this is the most confident I've felt in my lifetime for South Carolina going into a South Carolina Clemson game.
If anything, that scares me more.
Yeah. So I feel like if the defense shows up, they like you said, Austin, they haven't looked as good on numbers wise the past couple of weeks on the sacks and the turnovers and the
Right.
points allowed. But I mean, that's at some point it's going to be fatigue. I mean, we're 12 weeks into the season now. These guys are tired. I mean, they're working their tails off. I mean, look at Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart. I mean, they're out there almost every play, one or the other. So I mean, it's a lot going on with that. But I think defense is key, and I think if Lenoris has another good game, not only will he solidify himself as the best quarterback in the SEC, but he'll solidify himself as a top 3 quarterback in college football this weekend.
Ooh, come on. Talk to him.
Whoa.
Talk to him. All right, I'm gonna give y'all my little keys real quick. So I think South Carolina needs that Texas A&M defensive physicality. All right, we were the most physical in the Texas A&M game without a doubt. If we have that, we're gonna be fine. But I'm more focused on the secondary with Texas A&M. Tennessee, or not Tennessee, my bad. Clemson and Cade is not scared to throw the long ball. If they can get that run game going and that short yardage plays going, they're going to dart it over us. Over the last few weeks, what we've seen with Carolina, they let up the short pass a lot. But the thing is, it prevents those big plays from happening. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to be mad if we allow that in this game. I feel like we're going to give up something that's football. So I hope we allow some of that short game, but stop the run and do not let Cade break a big one. Keep the big plays down. My next key to victory, protecting the ball. I don't want to see any more ghost fumbles, all right? Well, Norris, get some duct tape on your hands, big man. We are 21 for 11 on fumbles. It's embarrassing how many fumbles we've had. Luckily, as the season's progressed, it's noticeably gotten better. But we got to protect the ball, get rid of the fumbles, throw it out, and then continuing to handle the mobile QBs, not letting Cade use his legs. Given Cade has 341 rushing yards on the year, so I wouldn't say he's a full-fledged mobile QB. Like, I don't think that's his main focus. I think his main focus is going to be going through the air. He has 2,563 passing yards on the year. So I think his arm's his biggest threat, but don't give him the dual threat action. Don't let him be able to do both. Because if he starts doing both, we're gonna be cooked. So I'm gonna let y'all get into it with your predictions and your impact players. Then I'll say
So
mine.
yeah, I agree. I think we need to make sure we set the edge and make sure we don't
Mhm.
overcommit. And when we hit their butt in the backfield, make sure they go down. Don't allow
Oh, absolutely.
First time.
no scramble drill bull jive. That
Hey,
can't
watch
happen.
out for Phil Maffa. Watch out for Maffa. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
yeah.
he's disgusting.
Listen, out of all the Clemson players they got, don't like him. But
I
that dude is
respect
nasty.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's kind
respect
of hard
Phil
to hate
Maffa.
Maffa. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, Phil Maffa's
yeah.
disgusting. But anyways, listen, I when we get into turnover margins, I got South Carolina winning the turnover margin 2-1.
I do too. I
Um,
have it 3-1. I have 3-1, but I agree.
okay,
I got it
I
1-3. 1-3. I think our defense
whoa.
cooked. We gonna get into it when I give my projections. I
Wait,
got it
one
one
to
to
So you're
three
three.
agreeing.
Clemson's way?
You're agreeing.
No, 1-3 Carolina's
Okay,
way.
so
Oh,
okay,
he
me and you
said it.
agree.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
we got the
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, we're
I
agreeing on that
said
one.
the only reason I
Yeah,
said 2-3 is because knowing, uh, knowing, knowing college football, they're gonna give us some kind of bullcrap SEC refs, and we're gonna have some kind of pick six or something return called back due to a flag. So I said 2-1. Because it's happened 6 times this season. Um, I called 2 picks to 1. No fumbles. Unless one of their
No
turnovers is a
fumbles.
strip sack. Yeah, I
that's what I
mean,
got. That's my third one.
is a
Kyle gets
strip
in the
sack.
backfield. Yeah, Kyle gets in the backfield, punches it out of Cade's hands and jumps on it. But yeah, I've got 2 interceptions, one fumble.
And that's kind of where I'm sitting. Me and you are pretty much riding the same thing.
Yeah. Unless we see some Beamer ball like we did not last year but the year before, won us the game, was a drop punt. I wouldn't be
That would be
surprised.
nuts.
I'm expecting a big special teams play this game, like a Juju kickoff return past the 50, a good punt return. Uh, I'm expecting a good special teams play here. Maybe even a fake field goal,
Or
fake
maybe
punt. I'm feeling
that little lateral joint to Nick Harbor. You feel me?
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
feeling a big
That was
special
nuts
teams.
when I saw that.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm feeling a big special teams play.
well, boys, you might as well write it down on your notebook. That was my hot take. A Juju to the house punt return.
Love it.
He's
I
currently
love it.
averaging 6.9 punt return average. All right. Juju's been the most under the radar player of this season. Hasn't done a lot, hasn't been in the spotlight a bunch, hasn't had any big moments. If anything, sometimes he's kind of scared me. But Juju, he's a veteran. He's been on the team for a long time. I think he gets his moment in the sun. He, he's going to the house on a punt return this weekend. I'm calling
I
it.
like
He
that.
swings the
I like
momentum.
that.
Whoa. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my hot take. Y'all both mentioned it, and I was like, okay, we gotta let
I
it in
love it.
there.
Love it.
I'm calling it now.
All right, so well, that's one player stat prediction. What is some kind of
Mhm.
player stat prediction you want to throw out there? Mine, I know we talked about it the other night when we were trying to get all this set up.
Okay.
I have had a couple over the last couple weeks that I've kind of been predicting. Nick Harbor is going to be a
Mm,
prime factor in this game. I
okay.
have called a Nick Harbor breakout game against Clemson since before the A&M game. You can ask Mac. I've called it.
Probably week 6.
I,
Since week
I
6.
have literally called it because we were all saying, "Dear God, he can't catch." The kid, we need to see some more growth. And then all of a sudden, here's a 30-yard catch. Then here's another game with 2 catches. Then all of a sudden, here's 3 catches and a touchdown in one game. And then here's another game with 3 catches and touchdown. I'm like, this cat's gonna break out. And then this last game or
Mm,
2 games ago, there's a holding call because he's running a streak. They can't keep up with him, but he's got Olympic speed. They're going to have a problem matching up with Nick Harbor. Okay.
I agree.
Another 2 players to look out for, both on defense. Think,
Mm.
I think Kyle and Dylan both break the sack record on Saturday.
You got them both
Wow.
breaking it.
Wow.
Oh,
Is that a hot
I
take?
Hottest,
think
hottest
I think
take
that's a
of
hot
them
take.
all. Hottest take
I
of
think
them
that's
all. I think Kyle gets 2,
close.
Dylan gets 2, and the interior defensive line collectively together gets 2. We get 6 sacks on the day.
Oh
I'm
my
Listen,
uh
god.
I'm
Clemson's offensive line has been suspect all
Oh,
season. Pittsburgh got 5. I think we can get 6.
I was talking
I
to
love it, dude. I
some
love it.
fans yesterday. Yeah, they said that offensive line has been injured. And I even I'm a one up you or half up you here. I have Kyle Kennard with 2.5 sacks Saturday, breaking the
Two and a
record.
half. Y'all are
Two and a
freaks.
half.
I like it though. I like it. I really do. And I don't. It's a hot take without a doubt, especially both of them getting it. But one of them getting it, I believe it.
Listen,
I
I have
completely
that
believe
those are also my impact players. I mean, those are my impact players. Is basically our entire defensive line. I mean, I
it.
wanted to
Interesting.
more so focus on the interior, Tonka, Boogie, TJ. Those boys have played complementary football all season. I've
So
seen
good, dude.
clips of them
First
pushing
rounders.
each other in gaps to get and stop run plays and to get each other back there to create pressure on quarterbacks. Those boys have been playing good football.
Yep.
And on offense, obviously the biggest one of them all is Lenore Sellers. He's obviously a big offensive player. But I think the impact player on offense this Saturday, barring a crazy 200 plus rushing yard from Rocket, is going to be Nick Harbor and running
Okay.
some crazy routes for us. And maybe I have another one up my
I
sleeve.
have
I think
We don't.
another one may
Let
be
me get
Dalvin Campbell.
let's see.
Dalvin.
Like that.
Davion
I like
Campbell.
that.
I like.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me transition you real quick to my impact player. Man, give me Rocket Sanders right now. He is 179 yards from breaking the 1K. Just 179. All right. I think he has a 200-yard day. Look at how many rushing yards the Sentinel busted open against Clemson. I don't care if Clemson put in their second string. You're Clemson. Let me see. Where was it? Where was it? The Sentinel rushed for it was something ridiculous.
250 plus.
288.
200, yeah, 288.
288. Rocket's having a 200-yard day, and I think he has at least 1 to 2 plays over 30 yards. One of those is probably gonna be for a Teddy. You already know. So that's my impact player. I think he drastically affects the game. I think he controls the tempo. We've seen it already, and the combination of Rocket and Sellers, y'all already know. Y'all already know. And my
Yeah.
defensive impact player is gonna be Debo.
Hey,
Debo
Jonathan in the
Williams.
chat talking about, yeah, he's getting that 179.
Maybe in the first
Jonathan
half.
knows, bro.
Maybe in the
Maybe.
first half.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Jonathan knows what's up.
No, but I have 4 players to watch this
Oh, that's
weekend.
JR, not Jonathan. Or is his name Jonathan? I don't know.
Yeah,
JR.
I got
Yeah, you right.
4 players to
My bad,
watch
Nick.
this weekend. No, you're good. Kyle Kennard, 2.5 sacks. I have Eman Wari having a crazy day. Okay, Eman Wari, 2 to 4 pass deflects, a pick, maybe 6 with it. I don't know. And after the game, it announces he's coming back next year. So that's just my little, just throw that in there, a little warm take, nothing too hot. Give me half the
Give
game.
it to me.
Yeah, Eman Wari says, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. So those are my
Yep.
2 defensive players to watch. Lenoris, I've got it down to the yardage. Lenoris, 3 touchdowns,
Yard.
3 passing, 1 rushing, 318 passing yards, 68 rushing yards. This kid is going crazy. I'm telling you, he's going to solidify himself the top 3 player
As
in
a
the nation.
legend.
The narrative next season is going to be what I've said this year. Lenoris Sellers, Heisman candidate next year. He's going to solidify that Saturday against Clemson with the whole world watching. Rocket, give me 23 carries, 189 yards, breaks 1,000 by 10 yards.
Everybody's getting fed.
Oh yeah, the offense is going
Fed.
crazy.
I mean,
That's what we have.
like it's a Thanksgiving feast
Yeah.
for the second time.
Oh yeah,
Oh
so
my
I'm telling you,
My God.
Rocket with one of the receiving touchdowns. So one receiving, 1 rushing.
Rocket with a receiving Teddy?
Hey, that's what he did against Missouri. Won us the game. Set off an earthquake, buddy. I'm feeling it.
That's true. That was a reception, wasn't it? A little
Little,
forward.
little flick, but
Yeah,
I
little
mean,
flick.
you know,
It's a
we
reception,
count it.
technically. It's
We
forward.
count it.
That is a reception. I like it.
Listen. To wrap all of this,
We're gonna
to
give score
wrap,
predictions last, right?
yeah, this is
Yeah.
it. I mean, listen, this
Okay.
is it. We have broke the hour and 45-minute mark here, fellas.
Whoever
We
said podcasting was hard can go suck it.
listen. We have
It's not
done it. We are to the final score predictions of the Palmetto Bowl. Seth,
All
you
right.
want to kick us off here? What do you got?
All right. You know, Rocket, he's going to score one on one of these explosive 30-yard plays. That's why I said he's my impact. I think the defense, they're going to get one too, maybe with a little pick six or at least with a pick, and then the offense scores right after the pick. And then with Juju getting a punt return, I got it 34-17. Give me the Cox. 34-17. Blowout in the valley. Let it ride.
I like that. I
I
like that.
cannot wait for you to see my Google Doc.
Say yours one more time. What did you
He
say?
said 34-17.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready? No matter of fact, you go first.
Okay. So Lenore's 3 touchdowns passing and a
Okay.
rushing. That's 28. Okay.
Golly,
One
son.
of those receptions is Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocket rushing touchdown. That's 35.
Uh-huh.
Golly.
You get a beamer ball. I'm riding with the
Beamer ball
with
too?
the pick of
Juju punt
what is
return.
it? Yeah, Juju punt return. I'm
Oh my
feeling
God.
I'm feeling a defensive score. South Carolina shows they deserve to be in the playoffs. South Carolina destroys Clemson 49-24.
Bro, we scored 49. Brother.
49-24.
I'm
Put it on the
throwing
back of
a
your t-shirt. I'm buying it. I'm buying it Saturday night. Put it on a
hey,
t-shirt.
hey, bro.
South Carolina
Listen,
wins.
if we score that much, yeah, I'll buy it too. I'll buy it with you.
Come on, dog.
Love it. We
Come
got the
on, dog.
3130 merch. Put it on the
Yes,
t-shirt. I'm
sir. Put
telling
it
you
on a
now.
t-shirt.
Put it
Listen,
on the t-shirt.
I got it
he
on, bro.
said 34-17. I I was messaging my father about his prediction, and I'd already given him mine. He copied mine, but gave his reasoning why. Okay, I he said a scoop and score. I turned
Okay.
mine into a pick six. Okay,
That's what I got.
I have a pick six, and I don't have it 34-17. I have it 35-17. All touchdowns,
Oh,
no field
come
goals.
on. We got that close?
I have 35-17.
That's
South Carolina
crazy.
wins in pretty much blowout fashion. And
Wow.
I think we
I didn't
end up
realize you're gonna be riding that close.
listen,
That's insane.
I think we're going to be crying at the college football playoff rankings because we're going to be 12th and miss the playoff.
I
I'm
swear
not
to
trying to
God,
give
that's gonna
myself
happen,
hope.
bro.
Nope. We're gonna drop that 49 bomb on Clemson. Their last rush the field. I know they do that every week, which is ridiculous. Their last memory of a win in Death Valley is going to be when they rushed the field against the Citadel last weekend. Uh, the stands will be empty by the third quarter. Into the third, Clemson fans are going to be gone.
I love it. Listen,
I like it, bro. I'm here
listen.
for it.
We have the opportunity of a lifetime as Gamecocks to go and make a statement this weekend. We have the opportunity to go and solidify ourselves as an up and coming program that is here to stay. Number one,
Yep.
and number two, to prove that we belong, to prove that we are planning on belonging for a while. And coming off of a
Absolutely.
season like last season and having the chance with 9-3 on the freaking table this season, and whether if we missed the playoff with 10-3 being on the table, sign me up. Sign me up. I'm down for it. Proud of Beamer and the boys.
Beamer in
Proud
year 4
of
getting a 10.
yeah. Listen, proud
Golly.
of Beamer and the boys. Proud of the coaches. Listen, shout out Clayton White and the defense, the defensive staff
Hey,
getting that defense
shout out
right.
D-Lo.
Yeah, shout
Everybody
out
was hating
D'Lo.
D-Lo after Alabama and after LSU,
Listen,
especially
it
after Ole
took him a
Miss.
minute. Listen, it took him a minute. It took D'Lo and Mike Shula getting Lenoris and the offense kind of gelled together. It took them a minute, but when they did, boy, oh boy, have we taken off. Um, but I mean, listen, with that being said, fellas, I enjoyed tonight. We are going to wrap this up. I appreciated it. Listen, everybody that was in chat, everybody that watched, we are going to edit, throw this thing up on YouTube. We will announce again on X at the 2001 show on X when we will go live again. We appreciate it. We love everybody. Thank you, thank you,
Yo,
thank
man.
you.
Thank
See
Be a
y'all
good
you.
later.
Saturday.
Hey, ready for many
See y'all
more?
next week.
Let's go.
See y'all next week.
See y'all next week and go Cox.